Well, coming out of college, I was just looking for a full-time job, and I had a friend that worked for the city of Peoria, and he moved on. He started in the Parks Department, and he told me I should apply for this position, and at the time, again, it was the Parks Department. So I did, and I got an interview with my old director, J.P. Delamontagne. It was just him in a dark room with a desk light on, and he asked me what I knew about baseball, and being that I played college baseball, obviously I knew quite a bit, so it became really easy. I got hired pretty much on the spot. You could do that back in the day. They shortly thereafter made what they had senior positions. Those led to crew leader positions. Those turned into coordinator positions, and I was lucky enough to just take every one of those steps along the way until eventually becoming a supervisor. Everything from that point just kind of fell in place. It kind of took off. Again, it was the Brewers had their minor league spring training facility there. I just remember somewhere back in, I don't know, my years kind of get blended in there, but somewhere along the line there was some news out that Peoria is about ready to land 2 spring training teams. And a memory like that, it seems like yesterday. Mm-hmm. I can remember the helicopters flying overhead at that sports complex, and the news came out. I remember us taking the knob and turning it to Channel 3 and hearing that we landed the San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners. It was so awesome to be a part of being the first ever, including Florida, dual team spring training facility. So none of that had ever been worked out before, and to figure out along the way how many employees it takes to maintain the complex to those standards, that was very tricky always, still is to this day. The amount of people that's came through here and went on to work at other places or become the supervisor of their own complex this size or whatever, we're spread out through the whole Cactus League, and that's awesome.
That's cool. That's cool.
Cut that part out right there. See, I can't even talk about it, but I never ever got starstruck by any ball players just because I felt like, that's what I wanted to do at one time. Where I got a lot out of my job was when I would see friends come in that I played ball with. Mm-hmm. And one of those guys was a really good friend when I was playing in college. It was Tim Salmon. He ended up being Rookie of the Year one year. And came close to being MVP, but he had a great career with one team in the Angels, and any time and every year he'd come down here and play, we would always take 10, 15 minutes, sometimes even a little bit longer, and go in the clubhouse and just talk about old times. So that was one of those times that I was so happy to be where I was at because it kept me in contact with him. My only other time that I was like, and again, I wasn't really that starstruck, but I was so happy I was in the right place at the right time, but Garth Brooks came out and he played for the Padres during spring training. And Rick Sutcliffe, one of the Padres coaches at the time, wanted to give him some extra work away from all the media, and the media was just absolutely everywhere. So they asked myself and my coworker at the time if we could come into the stadium and set up batting practice, and we're like, yeah, we'll do it for you. And so as on our way out after we set up batting practice for him, they said, would you please stay around and take some ground balls for us, and field the ground balls or field his pop-ups, field his batting practice. And we're like, okay, we probably shouldn't, but we took the opportunity and we did it. Well, Garth was in the cage and he was hitting some shots, and I just so happened to have my stuff at shortstop, and about 4 or 5 different times I actually left my feet and dove up the middle and took some balls away from him that would look like hits, and he came out of that cage and it was like he was in concert. He dropped his bat and he yelled out at the top of his lungs, "Al, you're killing me." And it was like I was like, did he just say that? And it was really that loud? Anyways, afterwards we were leaving and they said, do we want anything signed? And I was like, no, absolutely not. That was just a pleasure to do that. But he still took the time, Garth did, and he signed a baseball. He said, "Al, you're killing me. God bless Garth Brooks." Mm-hmm. And I still got that ball to this day, and that was a cool time. That was really neat. The very first event that I can remember that we had here outside of baseball is we had a full blown out circus. And we had it right there on the infield. And I had to come and check on the place as they were doing the setups, and I mean, we had the lions, we had the elephants, we had the death wheel, or whatever you want to call it. We had everything that you would expect in a circus here, and the amount of damage that was going on that field, and what's supposed to be, you know, the no-touch zone, which would be the infield, it was wow. I was like, how are we ever going to bring this back? And but that was, to me, it was almost like a blessing, because that taught me everything I needed to do after those heavy concerts. And Peoria is the best ran city. They've proven that. They're always full of opportunity. As long as you can back up plans that you're trying to achieve, they'll stand behind you. They've given me 30 years of stability for me and my family. So, you know, I might not live in the city boundaries right now, but I will do all my shopping in Peoria. I'll do anything it takes just to take care of them the way it's taking care of me. I mean, I always wanted to, kind of touch on this maybe a little bit, but I always wanted to play professional ball. And when I fell on my face on that, this was the next best thing. And just to go back and think about how the timelines happened, it's like it was meant to be. Likely find it.
So you're getting a golden glove and a golden ticket for spring training? You always come back?
Man, if I don't get a golden ticket, I'm going to be livid.
Save that part.